Okay. Shit made me mad, son. Okay. Before we even talk about the overall episode, I want to talk about the last 10 minutes. Because the leap of logic here just instantaneously made me mad. Okay. Your spouse is dying from like cancer or leprosy, right? They are dying. You have spent the better part of 20 years watching them slowly deteriorate. Your spouse has now officially reached the point where they have like literally 1 foot in the grave. You have watched them go through fevers and pain and babble incoherently to the point where you and your pappy is currently in charge of the 7 kingdoms. Y'all are officially running shit out here. When you go to the king and he is in his bed because he ain't had no milk of the poppy all day, no morphine all day, he is babbling incoherently, talking about the song of ice and fire and the darkness that's gonna come from the north. He's talking about all this shit. You cherry pick my man saying Aegon was right. Aegon must rule. First off, bitch, which Aegon? Are we talking about our child? Are we talking about our son, our baby Aegon? Or are we talking about the freshly born baby Aegon that Rhaenyra has? Which Aegon are we talking about out here? Because there's currently 2 of these motherfuckers running around. There's Aegon the second on the left that belongs to us, and Aegon the third on the right that belongs to Rhaenyra. Why would you cherry pick that? Out of all the shit that Viserys is just babbling about incoherently, why would you cherry pick? Like, y'all, the queens finally came to terms. Rhaenyra was like, I'm gonna take my boys back to Dragonstone, and then I'm gonna fly back here on Dragonback. You're about to get your gay wish, Alicent. She's about to put you on the back of Syrax, and y'all about to go flying around the kingdoms, just making up and coming back to terms to being friends again. And you chose this moment to become a religious zealot. I ought to beat you. So I could not be a King's Guard in any way, shape, or form. Because if I was in the room or if I was outside the room, I'd have walked right in the room and slapped the shit out of you. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? We're this close to peace. Peace. Like, peace has finally been, it's been written down. It hasn't been hammered out. It's been written down. We're coming to terms with the situation here. And you choose this moment to cherry pick some fever dream that the dude who's been dying from leprosy cancer for the last 10 years is suddenly having? Why? Oh my God. I feel as though this is an addition to the lore, right? Because for the most part, spoilers, well, not really spoilers, but the show and the book are both contemporaneous notes of the event that occurred, written by people down the line that are basically adding on to this tale and lore about the dance of dragons. Because of course, after a cataclysmic war, there's always somebody that shows up and adds some type of poetic title to it to try and, string everything together, even though it was absolutely fucking horrible. But both of these accounts, well, the book account, they don't dive into Alicent being in the king's room and hearing this tale. No, Alicent was dead set from the beginning. Like, book-wise, Alicent's evil. Of course, Rhaenyra kind of like goes over to the dark side as well, because it's war and people do grimy shit during war. But for the most part, the Greens are despicable. Now, it seems as though the entire Dance of Dragons basically occurs because of a misunderstanding. Because Alicent chose in the final moments of Viserys' life, she's been ignoring this man, having dry sex with this man, and trying to like just meek out some level of a meager existence as queen for the last 20 years. all of a sudden, in his last dying breath, his last gasps, she out here like, you know what? I have no idea what the fuck you talking about, but that shit spits. Like, you spitting fire right now. Aegon finna be king? We finna betray this bitch. Why? What? For the most part, the rest of this episode is sad as fuck. It's absolutely sad because it's Viserys. His body is just falling apart. It's him falling apart, and while he's falling apart, he's trying his best, his absolute best. He is trying his best to bring his family together. And the sad thing is, he succeeds and then sabotages what he set out to do, because he set out to bring them together. And by the end of the drink, Rhaenyra and Alicent, they're cool. Success. Like, there was a 3% chance that, like, you know, like he rolled for initiative on a 3% chance and he won. Like he came up big. The unity between the two queens, between the two best friends, things are gonna go back to normal. And then in his last dying gasps, he puts out like that prophecy of Aegon, and she completely misinterprets it and fucking runs with it. And now we're gonna have the almost near collapse of House Targaryen. I would say that, like, this war is gonna wipe out 99% of House Targaryen strength. Them dragons ain't gonna survive, bruh. Like, I know a lot of people had complaints about the time skips that have occurred in season 1, but the time skips occur for a reason. The time skips occur to get you to 129 AC. That is the current time in this episode. Yeah. So 129 AC is when King Viserys dies. 130 to 132 AC is the entirety of the Dance of Dragons, which means that season 2 is going to be hella fucking interesting going forward, because there's no more time skips. Everyone is aged up to where they basically need to be, or around, I would say, where they need to be. Once we jump into this war, it is nothing but death and devastation, left and right, across the board, for everybody. Like, woo! Season 2 is about to be fire. Like, I think next episode is the season finale of season 1, which fuckery is about to begin, and then we are off to the races, because this is essentially going from like season 1 Game of Thrones to about season 3, season 4 Game of Thrones, where it's just gonna be war and dragon battles and death and blood and betrayal and fucked up. I can't wait for it. Bring on next week. Like, I'm super pumped for next week. Like I said, I know a lot of people complain about the time skips, but the time skips exist for a reason. Because if the time skips didn't exist, you would be asking HBO and the showrunners to basically write fanfic of what they think would have happened during that time, which means George R.R. Martin would have some level of oversight, but not really levels of oversight, over basically what occurs between 20 years. Because when we first introduced these characters, it's been 20 years since everybody basically showed up. I believe we got onto the scene in 106 AC or 104 AC, and now it's 129 AC. We've been with these characters for quite some time. There's no way HBO is going to greenlit like 3 seasons of just backs. No, this is perfect. This works. We've officially moved from Fire and Blood, which is, I would say, it's this very first part, and we are now transitioning into the Dance of Dragons, which is this episode finale. This next episode is going to set up the war, and we are basically going to be sitting through this war for the next 2 seasons. Oh, it's gonna be fucking great. It's gonna be fucking great. Absolutely fucking great. Oh my god. Oh. To touch on something before I wrap up, like this review, I love, and I'm probably gonna talk about it in another video, I love the scene where Viserys stumbles and the person who comes up the throne to help him and puts him on the throne is Daemon. And it means so much to Viserys to look up and see Daemon be the one that helped him and put him on the throne and then place the crown on top of his head. It means so much to him because out of all the people in that room, Viserys loves Daemon the most because he's his brother. Of course, he absolutely loves his brother. Damn, this episode was good. like they chose to give us the emotional episode, and I knocking it out of the fucking park. I absolutely love it. Across the board, I love it. But comment down below, let me know what you think about this episode, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.